You know, when you hear the term amino acids, you probably think of them as the building blocks for proteins, right? And you're not wrong, but honestly, that's just scratching the surface. Today, we're going to dive into their other life, their secret identity really, as the brain's master signaling molecules, controlling pretty much everything from our mood to our memory.
So that leads to a pretty wild question, doesn't it? How can these relatively simple little molecules have so much control over the most complex thing in the known universe, our brain? How do they get to decide if we feel happy or anxious, if we're wide awake or dead tired?
Well, the answer is actually kind of beautiful in its simplicity. Instead of a tangled mess of wires, think of your brain as this incredibly sophisticated circuit board. And amino acids, they're the master switches. They can flick circuits on, shut them down, or even fine-tune the power level with amazing precision. So let's go ahead and flip that first switch. Okay, first up, we've got the signals that scream go. These are the ones that tell neurons to fire. They're the on switches, the gas pedal that gets the brain's circuits buzzing and ready for action.
And the undisputed king of the go signals is glutamate. I mean, this is the main excitatory neurotransmitter in your entire central nervous system, hands down. Every single time you learn something new or form a memory, you can thank glutamate for being there, strengthening the connections between your neurons.
But here's the thing about power. You need balance. Too much glutamate is a massive problem. It can literally excite neurons to death. It's a process we call excitotoxicity. And as you can see, this one single problem is at the heart of the damage we see in really devastating conditions like a stroke, epilepsy, and even Alzheimer's disease.
Obviously, you can't just have a gas pedal, right? A brain that only knows how to say go would be pure chaos. You absolutely need brakes. You need stop signals to calm everything down and keep the system from burning out.
And that main off switch, the big brake pedal for the brain, is GABA, or γ-Aminobutyric acid if you want to be formal. Its job is the polar opposite of glutamate. When GABA shows up, it basically tells the neuron to just chill out, making it way less likely to fire. It's the brain's universal calm down signal.
And this is where things get really clever. I mean, it's just brilliant design. The brain doesn't go hunting for some totally new molecule to act as its brake. Nope. It takes glutamate, the main go signal, and with just one simple chemical step, boom, it creates GABA. The accelerator and the brake are made from the exact same stuff. How cool and efficient is that?
And believe me, this balance is absolutely everything. When your stop system isn't working right, you see big problems. Not enough GABA, that's linked to things like anxiety and seizures. Which makes sense then why drugs like benzodiazepines, which just help GABA do its job better, are so effective. And while GABA is running the show in the brain, another amino acid, glycine, is the main stop signal in the spinal cord. If you block that, like the poison strychnine does, you get these horrific, uncontrollable convulsions.
Okay, so we've got on and we've got off. Simple enough. But the brain isn't just a light switch, right? It's more like a dimmer switch. It needs nuance. It needs molecules that can dial entire systems up or down, influencing complex things like mood, focus, and alertness. These are the biogenic amines, and they all come from amino acids. Let's see how the brain does its fine-tuning.
So, check out this amazing biochemical assembly line. It all starts with one amino acid, tyrosine. Now, just follow the steps. In one step, the brain makes DOPA. Then that gets turned into dopamine, the famous molecule for movement and that feeling of reward. Add another little piece, and you get norepinephrine, which gets you focused and alert. And one last tweak gives you epinephrine, classic adrenaline, the driver of our fight or flight response. You get this entire family of super important regulators, all starting from one single amino acid.
And it's not just tyrosine. The same basic story plays out with other amino acids. Tryptophan, the one from Turkey that supposedly makes you sleepy, is the starting point for serotonin, the master mood regulator. And then serotonin itself is used to make melatonin, our sleep hormone. Then you've got histidine, which becomes histamine, and histamine does way more than just allergies. In the brain, it's a huge player in keeping us awake and alert.
All right, let's bring this all back to the bedside, because understanding these pathways isn't just academic. It's essential for understanding what happens when things go wrong, when these signals fail.
Okay, this slide right here, this is your high-yield cheat sheet. But don't just memorize it, look for the patterns. Take dopamine, for example. It's living life on a knife's edge. Too little of it, you get the motor symptoms of Parkinson's disease. Too much, and you can see features of schizophrenia. Now look down at serotonin. When those levels drop, it's a classic sign of depression, which is exactly why drugs like SSRIs are designed to keep more of it around. This isn't just a random list of facts, it's a roadmap to brain pathology.
So this is the idea I really want you to walk away with. When you see a patient, you can start to connect their symptoms back to these fundamental chemical pathways. Low dopamine, your mind should go to Parkinson's. Low serotonin, depression should be on your list. The biochemistry literally dictates the pathology.
All right, let's put a bow on all of this with a quick cheat sheet. This is the stuff you want locked and loaded, not just for your exams, but for when you're in the clinic.
So let's break it down into 3 simple functional teams. On Team Go, the exciters, you've got your main players, glutamate and aspartate. On Team Stop, the inhibitors, you have GABA for the brain and glycine for the spinal cord. And finally, on Team Regulate, the fine-tuners, you have that all-star lineup we just talked about, the ones derived from tyrosine, tryptophan, and histidine. And we absolutely cannot forget the essential helpers, the pit crew that makes all the synthesis happen. These are your vitamin cofactors. I mean, just look at how vital vitamin B6 is. You need it to make GABA, serotonin, and histamine. So a B6 deficiency isn't just some abstract nutritional problem, it can actually show up as seizures, because you literally can't make enough of your brain's main brake pedal. This is where biochemistry and clinical practice collide.
All right, time for a quick pop quiz, just to make sure one of the coolest ideas from this whole explainer is locked in. Which stop signal is made directly from the main go signal?
You got it. It's GABA, made straight from glutamate. It's a perfect example of the brain's incredible efficiency.
Okay, so to wrap this all up, I want to leave you with a question that connects everything we've talked about to pharmacology. Now that you know the recipe, you know how these neurotransmitters are made, how would you go about designing a drug to specifically boost serotonin levels to treat depression? You could stop it from being broken down, you could block it from being taken back up into neurons. This right here is the fundamental thinking behind so much of modern psychopharmacology, and it all starts with these humble amino acids.